Welcome to Microsoft Excel with EJD. In this video, we'll be talking about printing and sharing in Excel. So let's assume that you finished working in an Excel worksheet or in an Excel workbook and you want to print. That is what this is about. So this video focuses on preparing your worksheets for printing, setting up the layout professionally, securing sensitive information, and effectively sharing files with others using cloud storage. So let's assume you're working with this sales summary report. Okay, I always forget to make it larger. So thankfully I've remembered now, so it can be clear. It can be as clear as possible. And also do not forget to extend uh or to use this arrow to come to the center. If you cannot see everything, then you click on the border lines between columns. So that way you can see the whole thing in the column. Then, of course, by the way, all the salespersons you are seeing, they are fictitious names. They are not, I mean, nobody in particular. It's just these names are made up. So it's not anybody's name per se. So of course, you may also want to do some formatting, which we learned in the first video. One formatting I like is to centralize as much as possible. Okay. Okay, now all centralized. Okay, or we can choose to not centralize the salesperson or whatever. But I mean, we have centralized everything. Here we have 20 data points, and it's a sales summary report as we talk about printing and sharing in Microsoft Excel. Of course, the first thing is we want to talk about page setup, margins, and scaling. Page setup, margins, and scaling. So let's assume you're going to work on this, and you just wanted to do data entry. Just enter the data, and you want to print. That's what this first part is about. So the objective is to ensure spreadsheets look professional and readable when printed, right? So the first part is the page orientation really matters, right? And one way, there are two kinds of page orientation, even in Microsoft Word, right? You have portrait and layout. So if you click here, I mean portrait and landscape, portrait and landscape. Portrait means portrait is means you are going to have the printing vertical, or I mean portrait is particularly useful if you don't have the your data extending too much horizontally. It's extending so much vertical. It's going down instead of going right or left, especially going right, right? So now, and how do you know if you need to put your document, your data set, or whatever you have typed in landscape format or portrait format? One thing you can do is you can try to print, right? Okay, for instance, if I there are many things you can do, but I'm going to talk about that later. But so let's even try to, if I try to print now, or even if I don't do that, I can do the print preview. Um, where do we find print preview here? Print preview. Okay, let's go to file, and then we have print. So when you click on print, so you see a preview of what you have. So you can see this captures all the data, all the data on the Excel sheet. As you can see, we can go back. So this captures everything. But what do you notice? So I come to file again and I try to print. So you see a preview right here. So it captures everything, but you can first of all see that all the lines you see, just like I keep telling you, the lines are not there. So if you want the lines to be there, you can just go back. All right, you can go back and press Control A, and then go home, and then do all borders. So now that you have done all the lines, you can then try to print again. So you go to File and say print. Okay, so you can see all the lines are there now. Okay, so this tells you that this is in portrait already, and then since it's not extending beyond the normal thing, then you can feel very free to do this in portrait. Now let me change it over to landscape, and you see what happens. So if I change it to landscape now and I try to print, or you can click on print or Control P. So you can see there's a lot of gap to the right. So in this case, it's not be that centralized. So for this kind of document, landscape is better than portrait, right? So that's talking about the page orientation. So for this kind of thing, portrait is fine because portrait already captures everything. Now let's imagine that I copy everything and I highlight everything and I copy and I go to another sheet 2 for instance, and I paste. Oh, Control Z. Okay, that's not my intention, I think. Yeah, let me delete this now. Okay. I mean, let me just come here. Okay, then I can easily delete this. This went to save like a sheet on its own. So like this is sheet 3 now, and I come here and I paste what I copied. Okay, let me come back and paste again. So I highlighted, then I copy, Control C, and then I come to sheet 3, and then I come here, then I paste all that, Control V. I right click. What's happening here? Let me see. Uh, Control C. Yeah. Then I come and I right click and I paste. Okay, I can just paste. Now let me paste it. Let me transpose it so that you now have it extending so much to the right. So if you that same data, I have now transposed this. So I want to see the names at the top, like what we've done. That's a lot of trouble actually, but I just want to do that for the so drive home the point about the page orientation. So for this kind of thing, normally, if the best way to print this would be in landscape instead of portrait. But let's see, it's currently in portrait. So let's see what happens if we try to print it. Okay, so I go to file and then I print, or Control P would be fine. So you can see it's only printing the first 6 names. So it means that, and you're going to have 3 pages. So page 1, page 2, page 3, like this, right? So you can see automatically this kind of page is better printed in landscape. Even the landscape may not even accommodate everything. So now I've changed it to landscape. Now let's try to print. Now I'm pressing Control P. So you can see it has covered up to 10 names. Even with landscape, it is taking 2 pages, right? So but at least landscape is still better than portrait for this one. So you want to check the print preview to be sure the way it should go. So this is better printed in landscape, while this is better printed in portrait, right? So now back here, that's about the page orientation. So it can either be in portrait or landscape. So another thing we want to talk about will be the paper size. Of course, you want to pay attention to the kind of paper you're using. So you come to size here. So if you want it to be a standard letter, you can come here. Of course, what we use most of the time is A4. So the A4 is the default thing. So if you're printing in other formats, so you just make sure you choose the right way you want it to be. That's really important. So for sizing, you come here. Most times it's A4 we use, but if you're using something apart from A4, please choose the right thing. Now we also have for margins now. So margins are the things the lines by the side. For instance now, but if when I try to print this now, it brings a print preview, so you can see some margins by the side. So take note of the borders around the table. Now the table is accommodating everything. So what if I change the margin to, okay, the default one is this first one. What if I change it to the second one? This is the default one. That's normal, so we can change it to wide. So if I change it to wide now and try to print, see what happens. So it's a bit different from what it was before. So again, do I have to highlight? I don't think it's necessary to highlight, but let me just highlight. I believe it's not necessary. So I click on this now. Then we try to print. Okay, we try to print. So we have the margin to be wider. And then we can also come and change it to narrow, which is not like the first one. So you can see the margin here is very small, right? So you have a very narrow margin here. So depending on what you want, but for the most part, the normal one is good enough. And the normal, of course, with all the dimensions, 0.75 inches at the bottom, at the top, also left and right, 0.7, header and footer, 0.3 inches each. So I think that for margins, That's fine. If you want something special, you can always change it. Maybe sometimes, you can also use that narrower margin if you think that if you have something wider than this. Now, when you click on print, you see that a line shows up here. So this tells you that anything that goes beyond column H is not going to get into the print. That's what this tells you. But thankfully, what we have here is up to G. So it can be printed conveniently in portrait format. So this line you see here tells you how far you can print on that side, right? So that's about margins now. So you can customize margins to control spacing around your content for a clean layout. So you can also customize, apart from all the normal ones, you can just click on this. So if you really need to be in charge of your margin, you can do that. Now we have headers and footers. So sometimes you want to number the pages of your document, right? In that case, you can insert a header and a margin. So I think that should come under view. Is it view now? Let me see. Or is it insert? I think it should be under insert. Yeah, insert, and you come to text here. Then you can have header and footer. So you can click, for instance, maybe you want to number the pages. Um, so this is header now. Header is at the top. So maybe you could just want to call this page one. So if you have more than one page, you may need to do some numbering, and maybe you need to centralize. I think it's already centralized. So you can add header like that too. So let's try to print now, and then you see that it has a header page one right here, like that. So you want to do header also. Then you can do scaling too. So there are different possibilities for the scaling you want to do. Okay, let me save it the way it is now, all right, and close it and go back to open it again. So like, okay, yeah. Then I won't forget to extend for to make it as clear as possible. Okay, so we have a header at this point. Now, the next thing we want to do is to talk about scaling. If you come to page layout again, you see some scale thing here. So do you want it to be 100%? You can reduce, then you can make it automatic, or you want it to be one page or two pages or anything like that. So you can play around with this to see how it makes your printing come out, right? Okay, well, what I have here is just one page, so maybe I won't necessarily see the difference. So you can play around with these things to see how they come out like that. So then the next thing you can so scaling prevents your printer from being cut off or spread unnecessarily over many pages. So you may also want to fit the whole thing into one page. Okay, let me come to sheet 3 and try to and try some things on this. So let me see if I do the width. If I say it's automatic, let's say I want two pages, here, two pages, like if I change it to two pages for the width and I do Control P, so okay, so it goes into, okay, nothing has really changed for that. So we have what we had the other time. Okay, let me go back and see when we talk about what about the height. Okay, what if we say 4 pages? Let's see what that tells us. 4 pages, okay, because everything doesn't extend before 2 pages, beyond 2 pages, so we still have that. So if you have probably because I do not have many pages, that's why I'm not able to really see how this is affected, but it's okay. So you can also define your print area. So you can come here, for instance, and say, if I highlight everything here, if I come here and highlight everything and I set that as print area. If I set that as print area and I press Control P, okay, it still gives us the 2 pages. Okay, all right. So still gives us the 2 pages. So nothing special. All right. So let's move on to another thing that's talking about print preview and print settings. Okay, you've been seeing the print preview all along. So once I press Control P, the print preview is automatically what you see. So like Control P now. So this what you have here is actually the print preview in this situation. Okay, so it shows you what after printing what it is going to look like. That's your print preview. Then of course, printer selection. So once you click on print now, so you can choose a printer. In fact, you can actually print in so you can choose a printer if you have a printer connected to your computer. You can print to PDF, I'm going to talk about, I mean, after I'm just going to print it out in PDF. That's the easiest thing to do right now. You can print in OneNote on the desktop and things like that. But I'm just going to print. So if you have a printer, you can click it and do all the other settings here. So you select your printer. How many copies do you want? You talk about the number of copies you want. You can still change the paper size here too. You know that you still have the option. If you want more than one copy, you can change that here. Then right, you can, so do you want to print on both sides? You know, if you want print to be, if you want to print it on one side, you can choose. If you want to printed on both sides, you have options here for that. You can choose what page rate. Do you want to print the entire workbook? So you can choose the pages you want to print. You don't have to, if you have like 100 pages, you may just choose to print maybe from page 3 to 7, if that's all you need. That's actually very possible. So for instance, you can just set that here, say from page 1 to page 5. So what I have here is just a single page document. So that won't be necessary in this situation. All right. So but here we just have that. So grid lines and headings, I've put the heading here, I put grid lines and all that. Then page breaks. So we already saw the page break on that side. Like, so you see this one can only come as far as this H. So you see the broken lines the other time, you know. Okay, so let's go and talk about protecting how you can protect your sheets, how you can protect your workbook and things like that. So that takes us to um let's say, I think, is it a view now? Help now. Review. Yeah. So under review, you have all these things. You may want to protect your worksheet or the whole workbook. So if I want to protect the whole workbook, I just click on this. So once you click on this, it tells you, okay, that you should do a password. So let's say if I password it, I just write 123. That's the password. And I just you can password the whole structure or the window. Let's password both now. Okay, here we are passwording structure. Let me Okay, I can't password the window. Okay, maybe just the structure. And I say, okay. So it says I should re-enter one password. I just say 123 again. So now imagine if I close this. Okay, I save that, right? So then let me come back and reopen that. Okay. So I cannot do anything to the structure. So what if I want to password the sheet itself? Um, so again, we come to that is, I think it's data. Okay, not data. Is it review? Yeah, review. So if I want to protect this sheet, I click on this again and I say password to unprotect sheet. Okay, it's already, so we have select locked cells, select unlocked cells and things like that. Because the whole workbook has been passworded now, it also automatically affects the sheets. So if I let me see if can I change anything here? Okay, that's possible to change. Right. So normally you should not be able to do anything. I guess I still want to try that out. Say, okay, let me come to this particular one and I go here still. So I want to protect sheets. So password to one protect sheet. So I say 123 again. So select lock cells. So you cannot select, okay, here. Maybe you can select lock cells, you can select unlock cells. Allow all users of this worksheet to select locked cells, select on unlock cells. So if I just undo all these ones now and I password, right? So I enter the password again and that's okay. So if I come here, so you can see I cannot select because it has been passworded. I can't do anything to it. But this sheet one was not so protected. So if I want to do this now, I can come back and unprotect. So if I want to unprotect, I just put the password and then I can now do whatever I need to do. Okay. So you can lock your sheet like that and nobody can do anything about it. So here I can do whatever I want to do now. But once I come back here, you know, Okay, I want to close it and reopen later again. Save, sure. So I open this again. Right. So now I go back to review and I want to protect this sheet one. Now I click on this and I just put, I don't want anybody to be able to select anything here. So I just put 1, 2, 3, and I put OK. Of course, you don't want to use a simple password like this. I'm just using this for demonstration. Confirmation password is not identical. Okay. Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, right? Okay. Re-enter 1, 2, 3. Okay. Right. So now I can't do anything. I have locked it. So it's like if you are doing a very simple Microsoft Excel application, you can lock it such that nobody can do anything to it. So people can only do what maybe you can have some cells, especially cells where you can summary cell sheets rather. You can lock those that whatever is done on other sheets is summarized on that page. So you don't want anybody to be able to tamper with your summary sheet. So you can protect sheets and workbooks like that. Okay. So you may also be able to add a encrypt with a password. That is, nobody can open the workbook unless they actually use a password. That's possible too. So once you have done all of this, once you have done everything you need to do, so you decide. So if I want one protect, I just come back here, I just and type in the password 1, 2, 3, and then I can choose again. I can then, okay, it is not effective yet. Okay, I come back. 1, 2, 3, enter. Okay, now I can click again and do whatever I like. Right. So you can protect your workbook and shit like that. All right. So another way is another thing we want to consider apart from this whole protection thing is that you can share files via OneDrive or Google Drive. So I'll use Google Drive as a demonstration. For instance, I can close this right now, and just like I keep saying, all my data, all the data sets I'm using, they are available on Google Drive. So, and what I'm basically doing is I'll go to Google Drive, all right, and I'll click on Drive. Then I go to, so I have, I have a folder for Microsoft Excel. So I had nothing there before now. So I just click on this now and, come to new, I go for file folder, file upload, go to desktop where the folder is, click on this. Then I click on Microsoft Excel with EJD. Then I click on those data sets, to-do list, monthly budget, students' course. Okay. Then I think I did something with the monthly budget again. Then sales summary reports, customer table. Then I'll just open and everything just comes and everything is saved after some time. Okay, so you wait a bit. So that's one way to save to you can save to Google Drive. And if that's for Google. If you're using Microsoft, you can save on OneDrive. But I prefer Google Drive for the most part. So you can see everything six uploads completed. So if you click on that directory now, you can find this. So that link you have there is basically this is how you get it. So I have my Microsoft Excel with EJD folder on Google Drive. So I just click here and I just copy link and then I share it with you. Then if you click it, it can give you direct access here. So you can actually save your folder or you can save your Excel sheets this particular way, right? So that's what that has been about. So I think this brings us to the end of this video. And by doing it this way, right, you can actually collaborate with people who you have. I mean, of course, there is you can have Google has made things so versatile that even without having Excel on your computer, you can just click on all the whole Google thing and click on Google Sheets, and it opens something like Excel. So with this, everybody you share this with, okay, you can see my to-do list is coming, or a to-do list is coming up here, or you can have a blank spreadsheet. So anybody you share this with will be able to, you can work with it on the same document from any corner of the world you're working from. So this is also another way. So this is like an Excel spreadsheet from the scratch. so it's Google Sheets, not Microsoft Excel, right? But it's Google Sheet that does exactly the same thing Excel will do, except for maybe lead some, some advanced things may not be possible here for sure. All right, so let's bring it to a close with this. So we've learned about printing and sharing documents in Excel. All right, so let me know how helpful this video has been for you, and let me know if there's something you'd like me to do, something you'd like me to try out. Feel very free. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, of course, you'll be missing a lot. So go ahead and subscribe right now. Hit the notification bell so you can always get alerted each time a new video is released. You can also become a member on my channel. Just click on join, and you see different levels of membership with their different with the different advantages you can have, by joining. All right. Till I come your way again, keep doing data right. Bye.